Welcome and thank you for joining us today. My name is Jamie Palm, an enrollment advisor at Fourth Div, and today we have an amazing Ask Me Anything session that is with one of our graduates, our past learners, who I'll be introducing in just a second once we've gone through some of the house rules and some of the introductions to the program. So as you'll see, we'll be using Zoom today. Please do use the comment section to answer sort of any questions. We'll be putting lots of links in the comment section, like the brochure, your booking link, and everything else you'd need to know. So do keep an eye on the chat. Then we'll also have a Q&A function. So any questions you'd like to post to our guest today, please do use that function. And please do vote up the questions that you feel most relevant. I'll be started with top rated questions first and moving my way down. So to give you a brief overview, we'll be speaking about the Product Management Career Accelerator today. And this is a 6-month fully online and remote program and experience. On the program, you will be building out a full product management portfolio, which is going to aid and assist you in hopefully landing a role as a product manager. Now, our program assists many different career backgrounds, so please do let us know, let me know in the chat if you are a career changer coming from a different industry, if you're a career advancer, so maybe you're already in product management, or if you've recently graduated and this is the starting point. So please do post your answers in the chat. We'll be going through that a bit later. So over the 6 months, you're building a full portfolio, you're getting certified and ready to perform the tasks of the role. Our program is split into 4 components. We have 3 6-week courses. On each of these courses, there'll be one main practical project which you'll be adding into your portfolio. So no exams or tests, but lots of different activities and learning opportunities. It's a self-paced program, so you will be needing about 15 hours minimum a week in order to get through the course content. You will be supported by live sessions that happen throughout the program. So every week we have dedicated support sessions with industry mentors, course facilitators, and they will be supporting you through content support, answering questions around your assignments, and also taking general questions as well. So you'll be doing everything in a time that works for you. The program is very flexible and it allows you to have a full-time job or even work part-time and still be able to fit this into the weeks. Now, not only are you going to be doing these projects that we put forth, but you will have the chance to work on a real business project. So we call this the employer project. It's the final project of our program that will ensure you walk away not only certified, but you'll walk away with a real experience, which a lot of our learners convert into work experience and are encouraged to share this on their CVs and their LinkedIn profiles through our career coaching function. So at the end of it, you're confident, you have the work experience, and now it's all about finding that next step for you. So w- during the process and even after, we will pair you with an executive career coach. Now, please also let us know in the chat if you've worked with a career coach before and what your experience was like. But for those of you who have not worked with a career coach, we have a team of about 10 to 12 executive coaches whose aim it is to help align with your personal goal. So you'll be getting to form quite a close relationship with them. You'll be running through your goals. You'll be talking about the best steps to tackle those goals. You'll be looking at areas of improvements and skills and strengths that you have in order to leverage your next job opportunity. So again, whether you're a career changer, advancer, or even a starter, your goals will be unique and your career coach will help you tackle these unique goals during the program and even after the program as well. So you decide on the time frame for those coaching from day one when you start. You have access to book in these sessions, and based on when you feel it's the best time to start focusing on the job search and the next career opportunity, this is when you will start that coaching. So you're not pressured to do it at once, but when you do feel ready, the program will give you that flexibility to do so. So, this is what the main benefits are. It's about empowering you, it's about certifying you as a product manager to walk away from a reputable university with an earned certificate, career coaching to give you the confidence and support needed. And of course, networking, a big part of our program. And as you'll see by the attendance today, a wide range of different backgrounds are interested in the program. So you're studying with a diverse group of individuals from various backgrounds who you will no doubt form a great relationship with over the 6 months as well. So, all about networking, getting to know your peers. You'll be doing activities together. The employer project you work on is a group project, so you're able to meet up with them in person for co working, but it's a great time for collaboration. So this is what it's all about. And of course, once you're finished with the Career Accelerator, you then have the opportunity to say, I would like to further specialize. I'd like to be a qualified product manager. And then you can consider going onto the postgrad certificate offered as a direct pathway from the Career Accelerator. Now, the postgrad certificate will give you the chance to do a dissertation in an area of product management of your choice. So it could be within sort of the specializations like AI approaches, tools, methodologies, or you could put a big focus on your design and development, which tools are best for that process. So it's a fun way to get qualified and also specialize within the field. Now, to not only give you this context, but to give you a real inside view into what the program is all about and what you as a potential learner can expect from this program. We've invited Rory with us today, who will be speaking. And Rory is a graduate of one of our programs from 2023. And he graduated earlier this year and has had phenomenal experience and success. So I'd ask Rory to please join us now. And if you could also give the audience a brief introduction to who you are and a little bit about your background as well. Thank you.
Sure, thanks, Jamie. So I think I'll probably start with my background first. I came straight out of university where I did business management and went into HR and recruitment. And it was a great experience. Learned obviously how to speak to people, feel more comfortable with people, stakeholder management, etc. But I think as a lot of you are feeling, there's something missing, and I wanted to do something else in my career. And getting to speak to a lot of product managers as a result of doing recruitment, I decided, you know what, that sounds pretty good. I think I want to give that a go. So from there, I decided to start looking at different courses and had a look around the website. But when I thought to myself, if I'm going to make this big career move, I don't want to take any half measures, and I really want to take the time to do a course that takes a while, but is going to give me all the tools I need to succeed. And that is exactly what King's College did. And what I'm doing now is came out of King's College and I managed to land a job at 7IM, which is a investment management company. And currently I am in charge, well, one of the product managers in charge of the portfolio app, which is essentially where you go and view the performance of your investments. Yeah, so I managed to land that role around three weeks after I finished the accelerator. And as Jamie did say, the employer experience that you get. So we did ours at DocuSign. Pardon me, you may do yours elsewhere, but it was very useful and obviously a great experience, which, as he said, you can use on your LinkedIn and your CV. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of an overview of where I've come from and where I am now.
Thank you so much, Rory. And from some of the comments from earlier's question, we have a lot of career changes. It seems sales, account management. Greg, background in photography. Thanks for joining,
Yeah,
Greg. And it seems like you're also in a similar position. You were
yeah,
moving into something relatively different. Now, for a lot of members in the audience, they are on a similar position where they're trying to figure out, they're making a big change. What led you to make that change? Were you unhappy in the career,
Yeah.
or ultimately was there something missing for you?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say I was unhappy. I would say there's probably something that was missing for me in that. For me personally, was feeling like I was making enough of an impact on a company. And for me, a big thing is feeling like the work that I'm doing is having a positive impact on others. And with recruitment and HR, obviously, there is a lot of potential there to impact people's lives, especially in recruitment where you're potentially getting them a life-changing job. And it's great to speak to other people, but with product management, you're right in the heart of everything and you're creating products that really improve people's lives for the better. And it's one of the main reasons why I love my job at the moment is because the financial sector, especially investment, is quite scary. So being able to simplify that and create a product that people love and people can understand to make investing not scary, that's something that really, really interests me. And why product management gives you the potential to do that, not just pretty much in any industry. And whether you're coming from sales or customer success or photography, it doesn't matter what background you come from. You can go into product management from whatever, and especially careers like sales and customer success where you're talking to people and stakeholder management a lot. That is a huge part of product management, and something that really has helped me is the confidence to speak to people and the confidence to speak to stakeholders and to present to people, and it's something that is invaluable in my day to day.
Oh, thank you so much. It sounds like a lot of what you're saying is drawn to the fact that you enjoy working with people, you enjoy helping them, finding solutions. And honestly, we see that passion in a lot of our students. It seems to be a common theme is that you want to help, you want to have more impacts, and you want to do good. You want to add benefits into the lives of users. Now, before we get into your program experience, Greg, what was that decision making process like for you? So you found the course, it resonated, but I'm sure there was some elements of you're unsure about. What ultimately led to you saying, yes, I'm going to invest in this course, I'm going to put down my deposit and begin?
To be honest, it's kind of a bit of a leap of faith, to be honest. There's no guarantee that anything's gonna go right. And I think it's really just you have to make the decision for yourself whether you want to commit to something. And I would say when you do commit to a course like this, it's going to give you all the tools you need, but there is really no half measures. I feel like the key to success is just really throwing yourself at it. So I think for me, it was just making the decision that I'm just going to take this leap of faith and hopefully it works out for me. Because it's what I wanted to do with my career. So I decided, why the hell not?
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite terms is leap of faith. It's something that we do in our everyday life and something we have to do. We can't always avoid it. So in this case, that leap paid off very well for you. And yeah, it's just great to hear that, from that decision making to ultimately land being successful. It's what every member of the audience is envisioning for themselves. And you are proof that it can happen. Now, you started the program, and of course, we say how practical it is and how flexible it is. What was your experience like? When you were on the program, was it flexible? Is the structure did the structure fit your expectations?
So I can't necessarily attest to whether it's flexible if you're in a full-time role at the moment because I quit my job to completely commit myself to the career change. So I was working probably between 15 and 20 hours a week on the course, but to be honest, that's more than was needed. If you want to, pass the course, I think just for me, because I was very fortunately in the position where I could afford to not be in full-time employment while I was on the course. But there are several people who were on the course with me. They did have full-time jobs, and they were doing the course at the same time. And I'll be honest, they were saying at times that, it can be hard to balance a full-time job and this course. But for them, similar to me, because they really wanted to make the change, there is enough flexibility in the course that means you can do a full-time job and obviously still pass with flying colors as well.
Ah, thank you so much for the transparency, Rory. I think the audience will appreciate that. It's about self-discipline as well. So it's an intense course. It's 6 months, and what you can expect is to get a lot of value in that 6 months. And as it is a career accelerator, we want to ensure that you can get to that end goal in a relatively short time frame. So 6 months, but it will be quite intense, as Rory has said. But not to deter you, the 15 hours minimum, it has been enough for a lot of our students. Now, another aspect, Rory, is the practical nature of the program. I said earlier, we don't have exams or tests, but how you are graded is against these practical projects. How practical did you find these assessments you
Yeah.
were doing?
Very practical, to be honest. I think when I was actually at university at Brooks doing business management, I pretty much used nothing that I took from that university degree into my everyday role in HR and recruitment, and even now as a product manager. Um, but the course, the actual practical experience you get within the course and the frameworks that you're taught are invaluable for me in everyday life. And what you'll find actually in a lot of companies is that product managers who've kind of moving from as a business analyst into being a product manager or maybe a scrum master into being a product manager is they don't have full understanding of agile processes, agile frameworks, development frameworks for a product. And it's actually put me in a great position in my company because although I've only actually been a product manager for 7 months or so now, my agile product management knowledge actually is better than a lot of the full product managers who have been in product management for 5 or 6 years. And I'm actually the one going to them and recommending different ways that they can approach tasks, whether that be at the beginning of the process where you're kind of developing the idea for a product, or whether you be at the end of the process where you're developing a go-to-market strategy, or even in the middle where it comes to kind of managing the backlog through the development process. I think there is a lot of value that the kind of the practical teachings of the course give you. So yeah, I would say it's very, very helpful.
Thank you, Rory. I think that was a powerful moment, and I'm sure for the audience as well, saying as a career changer, undergoing a 6 month program, you were advising those that were doing the role for 5, 6 years. So, I mean, I'm sure that is testament to the methodologies, the up to date content you're learning. But it also shows that when we say this program is developed in partnership with Kings and industry, we really mean it. Um, Big organizations and companies like Atlassian, Dropbox, Mr. Yum, just to mention a few, has had good input into our curriculum. So what you're learning, as Rory has mentioned, is going to be much appreciated in industry. And talking on the portfolio still, Rory, now the last employer project, that is something most students look absolutely forward to. It's what they want out of the program, is that real work experience. Can you talk us a bit through what you got up to with DocuSign?
Yeah, of course. So what my group did, so there was a group of five of us, and we basically worked on looking at the um, what's it called the verification process for when you're actually going to sign a document. So you basically need to go through a multi-factor authentication, or you need to go through answering several questions before you can actually log in. So personal questions about yourself, what's your favorite pizza spot, what's your dog's name, etc. So we were looking at that and looking at that process and how we can improve that authentication process. Um, from basically so how you can access your DocuSign document and basically developing a new product idea around that. So what we basically thought was let's get rid of asking people personal questions, and it's a little bit behind the times. Let's go to actually using more biometrics. They hadn't really moved into biometrics at that point. They were still mostly using, where you have to take a photo of your passport, or you have to go through answering these different personal questions about yourself, and not really using or leveraging easy technology which you can piggyback on top of on phones such as facial ID, fingerprint authentication, etc., etc. So that's what we decided to do. And what we did throughout the kind of month and a half or so we were working with DocuSign was basically take that idea from conception all the way through to ideation. So what I mean by ideation is starting to kind of draw up kind of light digital sketches, what's it actually going to look like on a mobile when you're using facial authentication or when you're using fingerprint authentication. And then what we do is present those findings and those ideas to DocuSign, which, well, I hope they liked. But yeah, it was a really great experience, and it was also really nice to work with the different people there in my group, and several of them I still talk to and grab a beer with every month or so.
That's fantastic to hear. Another one of our students I interviewed earlier this week said the same. She's earned lifelong friends through the program, individuals she would have never met otherwise, and that she doesn't see herself without in the near future. So I'm glad that you've actually built relationships on the program, and that employer project really gave you some really good skills. What would you say was the benefit of that project in helping you with the success that you got after the program?
I think it set me quite well up for interviews, to be honest. I think it's when you go into interviews, a lot of people want to hear about how you've applied your product knowledge in a practical sense. And I think it does really actually set you up for being able to answer those questions effectively because I think to land a product management job, a lot of people do want you to have past practical experience. So I think it was really key for me to have that experience, know exactly what I was doing, how I took a product from conception through to ideation, presented it to senior stakeholders for senior stakeholder approval. And then also now in my role every day, I think it gave me a little bit of confidence to hit the ground running, I think. Kind of creating a backlog in Miro, looking at, obviously lots of backlogs are different. There's no backlog that's the same, but being able to look at a squad's backlog, understand it, understand what stage of the development life cycle they're in, and just give my bearings a little bit more when I actually joined 7IM. So I think, yeah, for several areas, it was very helpful.
Thank you, Rory, for sharing. And yes, I think the audience will also agree. This is a part of the program that they're really keen for, that they're super excited about. So, let us know. In the comments or Q&A if you have specific questions around the employer project that myself or Rory could assist you in that time. Now, another major component, Rory, I want to look at is the career coaching, which I touched on a bit in the beginning. So the career coaching, it's a major part of our program. It's what sets us apart. It's what helps our learners feel supported and guided. Could you give the audience a little bit of a description on what that journey was like for you?
Yeah, so I had Emma as my career coach. I'm not sure if she's still working with Fourth Rev, but she was amazing. Most of the work she helped me do was around my CV and also understanding what areas I wanted to work in. So I think coming from recruitment and HR, I was a consultant and I'd worked in lots of different industries, crypto, fintech, HR. So I was like, I don't really know what to. It was a big mess of like, where do I actually want to work? Now, obviously, I would advise you not to be too picky, but with a career coach, she really made me understand what areas I actually enjoyed the most and where to start with when I actually came to job hunting. And then when I actually came round to wanting to job hunt, she was invaluable in helping me structure my CV and understand, basically how to form a good CV, what's going to attract people, giving me advice around how a lot of companies use AI to filter CVs at the moment and how you can structure your CV to actually get past those AI barriers. So I think just understanding myself, what I wanted from as a product manager, what career I wanted to work in, and then also from a CV perspective of creating a CV that's going to attract people to wanting to interview you.
Nice. And what long-term benefits would you say that career coaching had? So, for context, a lot of the time, candidates think, oh, the program's done, the career coaching is done, that's it, no more benefits after that. But have you had any long-term benefits, skills that you can take with you long after this program has ended?
Well, from as in from career coaching.
From the career coaching, yes.
I would say more active thinking around where I want to go and what I want to do. I think I'm always thinking about, do I want to stay in the financial sector for the rest of my career? How can I, where do I want to be in the next 5 years? Again, that's having that kind of future thinking. That's such a classic question, again, interviews as well. So having that thinking around where do I want to go and how do I want to achieve that? I think Emma definitely helped me to start thinking about that a bit more, and what I needed, kind of the milestones I needed to hit to achieve that. So I think, yeah, definitely a bit more futuristic thinking with my career. It definitely helped me to do.
I see. Oh, thank you so much. And another aspect of our program, you might have had your success manager that you worked with. We do speak quite a lot about the success managers and their work in the backgrounds in supporting learners. What was your experience like with our success managers?
So to be transparent, I didn't have a huge amount of meetings with the success managers. I had a couple, and it was good to just understand from, I mean, they basically helped to lay out to me. I think I had Eddie. I'm not sure. I can't quite remember. But yeah, basically helping me just to understand how the course worked, what was coming up next, how to best prepare for it, and also at the same time just act as kind of a bit of a hype man, so to speak. I think if you're feeling down or a bit unsure of yourself, it's nice just to bounce something off somebody. And I think the success managers are more there, not as product experts, but they're there as just somebody to as a sounding board, to be honest. I think the couple of times I did have a meeting with my success manager, it was more around just, remembering why I did the course. So it's just nice to have somebody you can speak to be honest. I mean, I feel like I treated my success manager like a therapist now, but no, they're very useful for the few times I did have set up meetings with my success manager.
Yeah, no, I think one important point you've raised there, Rory, is that I think over 6 months, saying it now, it might seem like, oh, it's a short time period, but to stay motivated for 6 months, to stay on top of your game, on your best, at your peak, it can be quite difficult to keep yourself motivated and to always see that end goal. So this is what all these key individuals will be doing on your journey, such as your success manager, your career coach, anyone you're interacting with from the fourth dev team is going to constantly remind you why you're doing this and why you should to continue to pursue it. Now, before we get into the Q&A with Rory, we'll be looking at audience questions. Please don't forget to vote up the questions that you do feel you like answered, and then we'll get through those first. But a few more questions from my end, Rory. What advice would you give to anyone that is currently unsure about making this decision or leap of faith, as you call it?
Yeah. So for me, I would just say, really think about what you want from your career. So I think if you're to be brutally transparent about product management, it's great. And like any job, there are ups and there are downs. And you'll go through periods where you feel like, God, this is frustrating. I really feel like I'm getting nothing done, especially if you're working in a larger company where there's a lot of bureaucracy. But,
Mm,
I think if you're somebody if you're patient and you feel like you're going to actually impact a lot of people's lives in the long run, and you'll see that come to life in the deliveries that you make, and it's absolutely amazing when you do make those deliveries. I think just really think about how you want to impact people's lives and whether actually that's in the form of building a product. And if you do, if you're keen about looking at competitors, if you're keen about doing market research, if you like, just looking at a website and going, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad, this is good, this is good. I think if that's something that naturally comes to you, I think it's going to be the career for you. I think naturally judgmental person, but I think it's I yeah, I would say just have a good hard think about it, because it is it's a big change. And I think if you really are looking for that change and you really do want to make an impact in a company, I couldn't say that, well, I would say that product management is one of the best areas you could join. And I think especially if you're thinking about setting up your own company in the future as well, it's as a product manager, you basically are almost a mini CEO. It is within the squad that you're working, you're responsible for the vast majority of the decisions and the roadmap of what goes on within that squad, and dictating what success looks like, what's the product going to look like in 6 months to a year. So I think it's really good in understanding how to organize people and how to build a product that people are going to love, especially from an entrepreneurial perspective.
I see. No, so thanks for sharing, Rory. So sounds like on one end you have to love solving problems. You have to have a keen eye and interest and passion to actually say, I want to make people's lives better. So these are some of the fundamental needs and desires you're saying that's going to drive someone in this career. So I think
Absolutely.
for the audience, it's great to take this advice from Rory, and perhaps if you are considering this as a career path, really sit down and see if you tick these boxes. Do I want to solve problems? Do I care about people's needs? And do I want to be the mini CEO of a squad making big decisions? I'm sure, Rory, you have a lot of responsibility. You have to take a lot of accountability before when things aren't
Mhm.
going great. I think we often see the glamorous side of it, but then but it sounds like it's a interesting career. And then
Mhm.
could you just before we move into the Q&A talk us through the process of you actually landing your role? Because I'm sure the audience would love to hear. So you finished the program, you went through
Yeah.
sessions, you had your portfolio. What was that process like of landing it? Because it was quite quickly after the program, about three weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So I was applying before the Career Accelerator ended. But it was, I think, again, having been a recruiter, I was very used to interviews, how interviews are structured, what kind of questions are asked. Um, and I think I applied to several places. So for me, I applied to five jobs. Sorry, sorry, take that back. I applied to about 500 jobs, and I got about five interviews from those. So I do, it is a huge, when it comes to applications, it's just quantity. Like just send out a lot of applications, preferably in the sectors that are desirable for you, the areas that you want to work in. So for me, it was mostly around finance, and crypto areas, which are areas that I'm very, very interested in. And I managed to land five interviews. And I think it's mostly just around, if I could give you advice, it's just confidence in terms of the way that you speak. I think a lot of people notice if you're timid or if you're being shy in an interview. I think it's just have faith in your knowledge and have faith in the fact that you really want to be a product manager. So for me, it was just using the knowledge that I got from the Career Accelerator, my experience as a recruiter, and also just trying to be as confident as I could be in the interviews. I think the structure that they use in those interviews, the kind of questions that they ask you, are generally quite samey. So once you've done a few, you'll actually get used to it. So I had several waves of interviews. The five that I'm talking about are kind of what led me to 7IM. Before that, I'd probably had another 10 or so, but you do get good practice at it. And if you do get rejected, and I promise you, unless you are amazing, which I'm sure some of you might be, you're going to experience a rejection at a product management interview. Really do take it as a learning lesson. And that's how I took it on board is the more practice you get, the better you're going to get at it. And just that's eventually when it came down to the kind of my last five interview round, I managed to land the job at 7IM. So yeah, I would just say practice, confidence, and have faith in the knowledge that you get.
Thanks, Rory. And our audience definitely resonates with that, Rory. They love in the confidence that you bring into the call today. It definitely shows if this is the Rory that was interviewing, then how could you not have landed that role? So thank you for sharing. And thanks again for the audience for the questions. We'll be getting into these questions now with Rory. So as we're going, if you do think of more questions, please do um, add them into the Q&A function, not the chat function, but the chat function can still be used to download your brochure. If you'd like to book a time with your enrollment advisor, then that links will be there as well. And yeah, so let's get into the Q&A, Rory. So a few questions here. So I have one here. As someone transitioning from the creative advertising industry and project management, how will the program help me gain practical skills, tailor
Mhm.
my CV and LinkedIn profile, and build the confidence to step into the product management
Yeah.
role. So you've touched on this a bit, Rory, as a career changer yourself. You said the program was very practical. It gave you the real world experience from DocuSign, and through the career coaching, you're able to tailor your CV, your LinkedIn profile, and also you've spoke a lot about the confidence of the program. Anything
Yeah.
else you'd like to add to this question?
Yeah, of course. So I would say if you're coming from the creative industry, you're actually already off to a really great start because you're actually going to be working with digital designers quite a lot, website designers. So having that creative side that you have experience with, that's definitely something you can leverage on your CV. If you've been in the creative industry, were you involved in anything, in any kind of digital design, looking at websites, how are users going to interact with them? How might people like the kind of the creative things that you came up with? And how did you drive that creation? If you really specify that in your CV and how that creation relates to product management, that's definitely something you can leverage in that. And then in terms of project management, a huge amount of there is, I mean, as much as product purists would hate to admit it, there is a lot of project management in product management, especially if you're working in a larger company, because senior stakeholders always love to look at a timeline. And project management is all about how are we going to structure these different tasks to get to the end of the project that we have on a specific timeline. So being able to structure tasks, understand the prioritization of tasks, and more importantly, being able to assign those tasks to people is going to stand you in really good stead when it comes to to product management. So I would also say that. So any projects you've managed, I would talk about how you led the team, how you structured the prioritization, and how that product that the way in which you approached that project and how you managed that project led to success, and that will be a really good thing to show on your CV as well.
Some very good early tips, career advice and tips from Rory. Thank you so much. So I hope that answered your question. As long as you have that plethora of transferable skills, which I'm sure most of our students do, it's all about leveraging that with the coaching. So thank you for that question. We have a question from Sharon directly to you, Rory. So they want to know if any of the interviews that you went on, of the
Yeah.
five, did you discuss the program at all in those interviews?
Yeah, so it's really up to you as to how you want to use the career accelerator. For me, it's more just usually what you'll find is they'll see King's College and they'll instantly go, "Oh, so you did a you did a master's, you did a uni course." To be honest, I would just roll with it. Just say, this. I always talked about it as, I did one of the top product management courses in the country, which it is, and it's obviously from King's College. So just say I did one of the top product management courses in the country from King's. I got whatever grade, and it was really, really useful because of X, Y, Z. So you can leverage the career accelerator however you want. But usually, well, at least that's how I leveraged it. I basically said it gave me a great grounding in terms of the agile, modern agile product frameworks that we use. And as I said earlier, is that's something that's been key to me helping and kind of helping to make an impact at 7IM is the understanding of that agile product management. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Rory. No, I think that will help Sharon. Sharon, please let us know if that answers your question or if there's any follow-ups. Please do post again in the Q&A, but very good question. Thank you. Then another question, Rory, from Christine,
Hmm.
directly to you as well. So she said she's recently started a podcast where she's interviewed quite a few product managers as well as the CEO of Product School, and
Yep.
they said that product management. The boom slowed down compared to a few years ago. How has
Mhm.
Rory found the market? And just to quickly add before you go, Rory, so what I've seen in the trends is that it's not as if the market slowed down, but the need for more qualified and more certified product managers has gone up.
Yep.
So you'd find that the interview processes are more rigorous, as it already said, having done, let's say, 500 applications and to get 5 interviews, it shows exactly how competitive the market is. But Rory, over to you for any further
Yeah.
insights.
Yeah. So I mean, I would disagree with what he said. The market is slowing down, and especially as Jamie said, the amount of people who apply to these jobs and the amount of people you're competing against, it does go to having that knowledge. You need to go into an interview prepped with the kind of questions that they might ask you. A great tool for me was a an interview AI tool which asks you questions, and you really need to be prepped for them. And just sitting down in front of an AI that just asks you random questions for like an hour or 2 hours and just doing it, I would definitely say the industry hasn't slowed down, potentially because of economic factors or that were in the past. The amount of jobs coming out might have slowed down, but I think since the rate cuts and the economy becoming a bit healthier at the moment, I think I'm seeing at least from my notifications on LinkedIn, there seems to be loads of product management jobs at the moment. So I would say it's a competitive market and there's a lot of jobs available at the moment.
Thank you for that, Rory. Yes. So, Christine, it's I hope that provides you some positive feedback to know that the program provides you everything you need to compete. And as Rory is saying, it's competitive. But as a career changer, Rory has managed to utilize his transferable skills, gain the confidence, which, as he says, is one of the key components. Hiring managers can sense, if you're not confident, if you're not up to date with what you're speaking about, or your portfolio doesn't showcase the right skills, then this can all count against you. But the program helps you to be ahead of the curve by having you prepare. Preparation is key. I think Rory has demonstrated that quite well throughout this interview, is that you have to prepare and you have to have that vision of what's in it for you at the end. So thank you for that question, Christine, and thank you, Rory, for those insights. Now, again, please keep posting these questions. They are very insightful and they will help potential candidates in the future. So, Sharon, another yes, helpful thanks story was looking to understand if this course by KCL adds weight to your personal value proposition. So, Sharon wants to know, do you feel that the King's brand, the Career Accelerator, has elevated your personal brand?
Yeah, I think so, 100%. I think firstly, as Fourth Rev shows, having a reputable name like King's, you can say to people, I did a course at King's, I did well, I became a certified product manager. The way in which can people are like, wow, that's impressive. I think, having a course from King's, that looks really good. And then also the knowledge that it gives you as well, in terms of the way that you can talk about product, the way you can understand it. Especially in, if you talk to people every day and they start going, oh, I think this company or this company is really interesting. I think even the Career Accelerator helps you out in conversations like that where you're generally just talking about different things. But I think, yeah, the way in which you portray yourself as a professional, having a King's College course never hurts. And I think it does really set you up on a CV.
Oh, thank you for answering that one, Rory. It's helpful insights, and Sharon, I hope that that gives you the confidence, as Rory is saying, that companies trust the King's brand. It can't hurt to have this brand backing you and to be certified from King's as well. That is something that will stick with you for a very long time. Quickly from Christine Rory, she wants to know if you could possibly share any insights into the AI tools that you use for the interview preparations. I think Christine is quite ready to get started on those questions.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna have I'd have to look it up. Just type if you type in AI interview tool. I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be one of the top couple. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been a while since I've done any interview practice. So I would need to look it up for you. But I would just say type in AI interview tool, and probably one of the top ones will help you out. I'm sorry, I can't give you the exact name.
All right. No, thank you for that, Rory. So yes, Christine, please just Google it. Book a time with your enrollment advisor. Let us know if you found the tool. We will be more than happy to help you find it. So thank you so much, and thank you, Rory, for giving sharing that insights. I'm sure a lot of attendees and future guests are going to now start interviewing with AI more frequently. Then From another learner, Gio, thank you for your question. They just wanted to know a bit more about balancing time. So Gio might have missed that you said you weren't working full time during the program. I think that's along the lines of what they wanted
Yep.
to know. But as Roy said, he is was fortunate enough to be able to focus on this program full time. So his experience will be a bit different to someone that is working full time. But Rory, from just your experience of working alongside others that were working full time, you said that they seem to have it structured that they balance both.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think a few of my mates from the course, what they did was they usually do most of their work on the weekend, and then they would join. So there were sessions on a Wednesday in the evening. They usually join those teaching sessions. So whenever we had lectures, they join the evening sessions, and then the majority of their work they would do on the weekends, or they do when they got back from work. But usually, I think it was a bit too tired when they got back from work, so it was usually weekend work. But in terms of the amount of work that you're actually given during the Career Accelerator, I think is more than digestible in weekends or Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think it's really just up to you whether you're willing to give over that extra time and balance it with a full-time job. So definitely something to think about. If you are thinking of doing the Career Accelerator, along a full-side job, it will definitely take sacrificing some of your or quite a lot of your personal time. So yeah, that's what they did, and they both did really well on the course. So it definitely can comfortably be done.
Thank you, Rory. So yes, to also add to what Rory is saying, at any given point, most of our students are employed either full time or part time to some degree, and most our students would also have to be balancing something in their personal capacity alongside the course. So we've kept that in mind. And as Rory said, and I mentioned earlier in the call, that we have weekly modules that you need to get through. And Monday to Sunday, you'll be working through a module. There will be a mixture of video content, written activities, and reading material in the form of a checklist. And as you're getting through that content through the week, you'll check it off the list so that by the following week, you're ready to start on a brand new module. So whether most of the hours are going to be on the weekend for some of our students who work full time in the week, that's fine because they'll be able to check off that list before the following Monday, maybe doing an hour in the evenings after work. But it is whatever works best for your schedule. We just want to ensure that you would have enough time to dedicate on the program. So again, if you're unsure about this, please do book a time with your enrollment advisor where we can look more deeper and thoroughly at your schedule, and also guide you with an up-to-date course calendar to have a look at how we could best support you if you're working full time. So thank you so much for that question. Then, Rory, another question is, we've recently launched the PGC, our postgrad certificate as well, which I touched on earlier in the course, and I'm sure you've heard of that element of the program as well. Have you considered thinking about joining a PGC or furthering your study in product management through this qualification at all?
Personally, no. I think because I've got my job now, that obviously takes up quite a lot of my time, and I don't think I would. Well, I feel like I've achieved what I wanted to achieve. I wanted to land a role in product management, and that's why I set out to. So, in terms of further education, the vast majority of learning that I now would prefer to do is more within my role. So, just for me personally, I wouldn't consider the postgrad role just because I'm now a product manager, and I kind of set out what I wanted to do.
All right. No, thanks for that transparency, Rory. And again, it might be for some, and for others, it might not be. So if the journey for you as an attendee today or someone on our program, you do have the option to do this PG cert for up to 24 months after completing. So if you do want to specialize, do a dissertation, and go as far academically with product management as you can, then we do have this as an option. So thank you, Christine, for asking Rory that. Now, another question from Sharon to you, Rory, is, did you find the balance between synchronous learning adequate to the balance of the in-person sessions? So, self-paced learning to those live weekly sessions and possibly other live sessions we've had. Was it a good balance for you?
Yeah, so I mean I think the lecture sessions are great and really interactive. If anything, I'm quite a visual learner, so I would have loved to have a lecture every day. But obviously that's not possible. But I think in terms of the what you get from those lecture sessions, they are very, very useful. The career coaching is relatively infrequent, so it's quite easy to balance your time with the career coaching sessions that you need. The vast majority of the learning that you're going to do is actually through the modules that you're going to have to manually read through yourself, take notes, and I would seriously advise you to take notes because they are invaluable after the course as well. I refer back to my notes in my day-to-day job when I'm looking at frameworks and stuff and genuinely understanding them quite a lot. So I would really advise you to take notes. And also for me, I feel like the only way I can jam stuff into my brain is by continuously writing things down again and again and again. But that's just me. So yeah, I feel like the content that you get from the modules is absolutely amazing. It's just taking the time to go through them, note them down, and really make sure that you're kind of getting them in your head as much as possible.
Thank you, Rory, for that. And yeah, I think very valuable insights for our learner as well. And please do keep the questions coming. We at about 8 minutes away before we'll have to say goodbye to Rory, but I'll definitely stick it on for 5 or 10 more minutes to go through any last questions. So, quick question for you again, Rory, is how long after the program were you working with your coach? Did you use all your sessions during the 6 months, or did you save some of those sessions for after finishing as well?
I used the vast majority of my sessions before I landed my job. Um, but I had a bit left, but I decided that I decided not to go through it just because I was very, very busy at work and just didn't really have time. So you can carry it on if that's helpful. But for me, I used up the majority of my sessions during the course.
Thank you for that. And it's flexible. So to the who posted the question, you will have the choice to when you're booking these sessions with your coach. A lot of students they'll have their first session in the first few weeks. Already, that's the goal setting session that you had with Emma. That happens quite early on, and then after that initial session, it's pretty much up to you when you'd like to book your following sessions with them and undergo that process as well. So, if you first want to focus on the course and maybe consider your career coaching journey and opportunities and applying for roles towards the end or even after the program, then that is also something learners have done before. But of course, again, as a career accelerator, we imagine that most learners wanting to do this wants to achieve a outcome as soon as possible. So then they'd be working with their coaches quite early on. So thank you for that question. Another question, Rory, is around the application. So Rory's applied about 500 times. They want to know, was there many different sites you used? What was it networking? Was it actually applying? What was that like? And then
Yeah.
how much time did you actually spend on
Yeah.
applications?
So for me, I did it in waves. So usually came in about as you'll find that the jobs that get released do kind of weirdly come in waves, and sometimes you'll get 30 jobs released on LinkedIn, 30 jobs 1 month, 30 jobs the next month, and then just kind of for me. I was applying to all the ones that are relevant to me. So finance, crypto, and then also sorry, what was I saying? Health tech. That was kind of the three main areas that I was applying to. And you do have to I did spend a decent amount of time. That sometimes for me personally, it was just good to sit down and do it kind of in 1 or 2 hour chunks where you're just going through all the jobs you can find that are related to you and apply to them. So in terms of the websites I was using, it was a mixture of I signed up to a bunch of websites. I can't actually remember what they were, but basically they would just kind of send me emails when they had jobs available. So just multiple different job boards. and then also a lot of LinkedIn. So I got the 7IM role through LinkedIn. LinkedIn is what you're going to probably find has got the largest amount of jobs and also the easiest ones to apply to. Usually just with CV, with your CV without a cover letter. Another thing I'd recommend is when you are actually applying, cover letters are not necessary. I would say having your CV and a link to your portfolio on your CV is probably more than enough when it comes to applications. As Jamie said, applied. I can't remember the rough number to be honest, a lot. But I kind of went through phases. So I had, three or four interviews 1 month, three or four interviews the next month, and then as I said, my final wave of interviews, I got five of them, and managed to land my role at 7 a.m. in that last one. So you'll probably end up doing somewhere around 10 to 20 interviews, if not more, before you end up landing the job. But yeah, it does just sit down and just whack out loads of applications in kind of 1 or 2 hour stints, once a week or once a month, something like that. Whatever works for you.
Thank you, Rory, for that very accurate image. I think it's needed. Could be lots of misconceptions on how much work is needed to actually apply and dedicate yourself and possibly do a lot of repetitive tasks in doing application after application. But it's needed. It's a very competitive market. And without this drive, this discipline to get through that, as we say, the grind of it, then you won't see much success. So it's about that constant flow. And as Rory said, he's tackled it in waves, he's paced himself. You don't want to get burned out and discouraged by loads of rejection. So you want to pace yourself and you want to follow the best routes for your mental health as well, but to also ensure that you can bring your best self to the interview. You don't want to be burnt out for the next interview you do. And then lastly, before we wrap up, Rory, the networking. So another learner wanted to know whether you had a lot of good networking opportunities. As you said, you made a lot of lifelong friends here, but outside of the
Yeah.
cohort you were starting with, was there good networking opportunities?
So, I mean, I think coming from recruitment, I've always had a drive just to kind of go out and say hello to people, to be honest. And I think if I could recommend one thing to you is go on LinkedIn, find the companies that you are most interested in, find the product managers on there, and just connect with them and send them a little message in the connection request going, I'm doing a product management course at King's College London. I'm super interested in being a product manager, and I'd love to connect with you. And then if they connect with you, if you would like, from there you can spark a conversation with them. So luckily for me, because I did come from recruitment, I already had quite a big network of product managers who I could speak to, and also senior stakeholders who were entrepreneurs from companies. And I basically messaged them, asking them not only did they have roles available, but also if they could give me advice in how I could best sell myself and what they thought were my strengths in working with me. So it might not even necessarily need to be a product manager that you need to speak to, but maybe a senior stakeholder that you can just ask their advice on how they sold themselves, or what was the key to their success and things that you can learn. So for me, it's networking is all about just send out as many connection requests as you want to whoever you think is going to be useful in helping you on your journey. So that's kind of mostly what I did outside of the course. But as Jamie said, within the course as well, there are a lot of, you're going to meet the people in the course. We all met up for drinks when I did my course, which is lovely to meet everybody. And as I said, I still kind of meet up with a few of them very frequently, and they're all doing their own product management journeys at the moment. Uh, and
Thank you
it's
so much, Rory.
yeah.
Thank you
So
so much.
yeah, no problem.
And yeah, I'm conscious of time, Rory. Do you have 1 or 2 minutes to stick around just for two more questions?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much. So, two questions around your portfolio, Rory.
Mhm.
Do you have a portfolio that's sort of
Yeah.
something you have tangible to share, or is that something you're still developing?
I do have a portfolio. Admittedly, I haven't had time to work on it since I actually landed my role at 7IM. Although I did work a lot on it when I was going through applications. So obviously showing all the work I'd done during the career accelerator. But once I actually have some significant deliverables that I'm allowed to show from 7 a.m., I would definitely look to add those into my portfolio. The portfolio I do use is called Bulb, so it was actually recommended through the course. It's very cheap to maintain, and it cost me about $1.99 every month or something, just to keep it going. But that's the I haven't touched it for a while, but I will go back to it once I have more stuff to add. But yeah, I can share it for you if you'd like, Jamie. But basically, it's just the digital designs that I did as part of the course, and obviously all my different pieces of work that I did in the course as well.
Yeah, no, Rory, we'd love to have that. If you can share it, I'll ask our events team to get that to all the attendees that we had today, and potentially, with your permission, maybe share that with others in future. As soon as you're ready to have that shared, you can let us know. But thank you
Yeah.
so much for that. And then, Rory, last question is: in your current role, are you the only PM, or do you have a team of PMs that you work with?
Yeah, so I work within a team of PMs. There's currently, let me think. So we have three product owners and we have six product managers. So my official title is assistant product manager. So I'm basically almost agnostic between all the teams. So I'm basically fill the gaps where they're needed. So I work between two teams at the moment, with two senior product managers leading those teams, pardon me, and then two product owners within those teams as well. So I work very closely with two senior product managers and two product owners.
All right. And just for the benefit, Rory,
Mhm.
I get this question a lot. What is the key difference between a product owner and a product manager in the day-to-day context in which you see?
Yeah. So in reality, what you're going to find is actually there's not a huge amount of difference during the development stage between a product owner and a product manager. So effectively, what a product owner does is they manage things more from a squad level perspective in a probably quarter to 6 month basis. So they'll look at more at features and user stories, and they'll help the data analysts write those user stories and structure the backlog. So their main job is to kind of always kind of keep an eye on the backlog, keep an eye on where we're going on a quarterly basis, and make sure that the work is structured in the right way. But what a product owner won't do is they won't do market discovery. So they won't go out and actually think, what different products do we need to add? What are competitors doing? What products can we create? So for me, the exciting stuff, the creative stuff that comes with product management, you wouldn't do as a product owner. A product owner purely lives just within the development life cycle, just within the development portion of the product life cycle. So not looking a huge amount into what different features, what different products can we add now, whereas a product manager is looking more from a 1 year to 2 year perspective of the product and the product roadmap.
All right. Well, I hope that was beneficial. It's a very common question. I know that will help clear it up for a lot in attendance and those that watch in future. Rory, I must thank you for your time. I know I've kept you here for a few minutes longer. I'll
Okay.
let you get on with the day, but on behalf of the Fourth Rev team and our audience today, we do appreciate your time. And yeah, please keep us posted on your journey forward. All the best.
Yeah, I will do. And to yeah, to the participants watching, if you want to send me a connection request on LinkedIn, do feel free. And also my link to my portfolio is also on my LinkedIn as well, if you want to have a look at that. So yeah, and if you want to ask me any questions through LinkedIn, again, feel free.
Thank you, Rory. And for those that can stick around, please do. I'll be finishing off with the last three questions that we have. It's more general, so I'll be able to answer those and just take you through next steps and talk about our exciting Head Start package. So this should only be about 2 to 3 minutes. So please jump if you have to, but do stick it on if you can. So next steps from here is please do book a time with your enrollment advisor. This is key. Your enrollment advisor is able to take you through strategically whether the program is going to be the best fit for you or not. And once you've had a chat with your enrollment advisor, we'll be able to send you all the relevant information, documents, as well as the application process, which you can follow. Now, we have an exciting Head Start package, which aims to give you more benefits by securing your spot early this year for next year, January 27th intake. So the Head Start package will end on the 16th of December. You should have seen an email from our marketing team describing its benefits. But for the audience today, it will be at a financial incentive of £450 reduced rates across our upfront and our 6-month payment plans exclusively. And for all other payment options, by securing your spot by December 16th, you will have access to an exclusive mentorship session. You'll get about 2 of them. This is going to be with an actual product manager. So this is going to happen. It's going to be a small group. We only have about 25 Head Start packages available. So this is going to be exclusively for you. You'll have extended career coaching. So our standard package is 6 sessions over about a 9-month period. With our extended career coaching package, we see that extended to, instead of 9 months, 12 months. Instead of 6 sessions, you get about 2 sessions max a month, which you can use, which is more than triple the value. And then lastly, it will be early access to our alumni network. So while you're on our course, you will then gain access to those valuable networking opportunities that usually only come after you've graduated. So to kickstart your career even earlier through networking opportunities, we will open up our alumni network early for you as well. So the Head Start package ends 16th of December. It only requires a 10% refundable deposit to be made by that date, and we will get you secured for January 27th. So again, I've put your booking links in the chat function for your enrollment advisor. The brochure is there if you want to have a look, but please do reach out to us. We're so happy and grateful for your interest in the program, and we want to see how we can help you achieve your career success. So thank you again for everyone for attending. I do appreciate your time, and please reach out to us with more questions. Have a lovely day forward. Bye all.